Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us for our series of 10-minute video interviews with the IT security leaders of SecureOps. To get us started, we've chosen a topic that you, our audience, has requested: pen testing and bug bounty programs and how they help organizations protect against attacks. So let's kick this video interview off with this critical topic and an expert in the area. Our featured guest, Jasmin Landry, a senior cybersecurity engineer here at SecureOps. Welcome, Jasmin.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, just a quick introduction for you. Jasmin helps SecureOps customers with vulnerability management, pen testing, and bug bounty programs. He is certified in CEH, or ethical hacking, GWAPT, and has an OSCP certification from Offensive Security. Jasmin is ranked in the top 50 in Bugcrowd's bug bounty program ranking and has been invited and is a funded participant in bug bounty competitions across the world, including competitions in Argentina, San Francisco, Miami, and Las Vegas. He has also participated in publishing popular cybersecurity-related articles, including Sleeping with the Enemy, which discusses finding vulnerabilities in automobiles that could be exploited by cyber criminals. It is great to have you here, Jasmin. Are you ready to get started?
Yes, let's start.
All right. Well, I know folks want to hear about your experience with Bugcrowd and HackerOne, and we're definitely going to get to it. But first, can you tell us about yourself and a little bit about your job and certifications?
Sure. For certifications, I started with the CEH. With that certification, I learned the basics of security and a bit of pen testing. But it's more like a theoretical certification, so I get to learn, like I said, the basics of pen testing. And then from there, I did the OSCP, which is more like a practical certification where you literally have to hack into machines and servers and applications. This is, to me, in my opinion, the best one if you want to get into pen testing. And also the GWAPT is more specific to web applications, so pen testing web apps and APIs, and finding vulnerabilities like XSS, SQL injections, and so on and so forth. So I've been doing pen testing at SecureOps for about 2 years now.
Oh, that's great. Well, and how does this help your customers? Pen testing, vulnerability assessment, those certifications, how does that help your customers stay protected?
It helps customers. For me, what I like finding the most is stuff related to PII. For example, users' personal information. This is what I like finding, and this is what customers usually care the most for, because of stuff like GDPR, where they have to provide their customers, if they've been breached, they have to tell them publicly. And it doesn't look good on companies when that happens, so this is what I usually look for, to help them to avoid this situation. So this is the main thing. Also for vulnerabilities, so that I can find them before cyber criminals do, so that they avoid getting hacked and breached.
And I'm sure you're seeing more and more organizations want to protect PII because of GDPR and some of the other compliance-related legislation out there.
Definitely, yeah. Yes, it's getting more and more common. And also, like you said, a bit of bug bounty related topic. Like bug bounty, it's more common in the way that the value of bugs that discloses PII is getting more and more value and worth when we find those kind of bugs.
Great. So our audience wants to know the difference between vulnerability assessments, pen tests, and bug bounty programs. Can you give us a brief sort of explanation?
Sure. So a vulnerability assessment is more like a scan that we do, like with tools like Nessus or Qualys. It detects vulnerabilities based off of a specific signature, like a service version or a specific registry key in Windows. This is only like theoretical vulnerabilities that it finds. And then from there, the next step would normally be a pen test, where the pen tester would typically exploit those vulnerabilities and prove and show the impact that it has to the customer.
And then what about bug bounty programs? Are organizations starting to use them more often in order to find hard to find vulnerabilities?
Yeah, so bug bounty program, in my opinion, would be the last step after pen test and vulnerability assessment. Just the reason is because you have people from all around the world continually testing your products and systems and networks. So you have to be ready to constantly receive reports, either they're valid or not. You'll receive reports for sure. So you have to be sure that if something bad happens, it has to be fixed as soon as possible. So you have to have people on call and ready to receive those reports and try to fix them as soon as possible.
Great. And now we're hearing more and more about capture the flag, CTF, and other type of pen tests or red teaming. How are they different, and how do you sort of talk about the benefits to the customer?
So if you just compare first pen tests against a red team, so a red team is more like a goal-based assessment. For example, the target or the goal of the red team assessment would be to get a domain administrator on a network. While a pen test, you would typically get you'd report all the vulnerabilities you find, and comparing to a red team where you show how you got to the target to the goal. Sorry. So it's a bit different. Pen tests typically last, depends on the scope, but it can last about 1 or 2 weeks, while a red team assessment can last months until you really achieve that goal. So and also in red teaming, you also use stuff like phishing to attack the users. While in pen tests, you typically don't do that. And if we compare that to CTF is more like a bit of pen test and red teaming, because in CTFs you have a flag which you have to reach. So it is like a goal that we have in red teaming, except that you typically use pen test vulnerabilities, pen test related vulnerabilities in CTFs, meaning that you won't necessarily do any kind of phishing in CTFs. And CTFs is like a good thing to have fun and practice your skills.
Interesting. Okay. And then beyond pen tests, what else do organizations do in order to? Why else would they use pen testing? For compliance reasons, or is there another reason that they would use those?
Yes, definitely. So like you said, there is for compliance, whether it be PCI or which is the most common from what I see. So for compliance, there's also incident response. For example, if they've been breached, but they're not sure how the attacker did it, they conduct a pen test so that the pen testers can try to replicate or try to achieve the same breach that the external criminal attacker did. And also just for security reasons, main security reasons, like before they deploy an application to production, before they put the application in publicly available, or simply just to make sure their products are secure, as simple as that.
So just switching gears, one of the coolest couple of reports on the SecureOps website that I saw was the rise of ransomware report. It documents just how damaging the malware has become over the past couple of years, and how fearful security teams are of an attack. What can you do to help organizations protect against ransomware attacks?
So I, as a pen tester, would mimic what an attacker would do with this case. For example, I would send an email with a malicious attachment or a link pointing to a malicious site, and try to see if the user would eventually click on it. So it would start first by having a perimeter security that scans those links in those emails and scans the attachments, and then also have some user training that would train them to always be conscious that this can happen to them, and always make sure that they double check with the security team before click on something that looks suspicious. So my job in this case would be to help the organization show how this works, and so that they can properly fix it or try to make it as much as possible against this type of attack.
Great. And then what are your customers' most serious security concerns? Is it ransomware? Is it some other type of malware? Is it compliance even? What do you think they are?
I believe it's more now related to PII, just because of GDPR, where companies can get fined big amounts, like we saw recently with Facebook getting fined a huge amount. So I think this is the main thing. And also because it's all like for users, right, for their customers. If they get breached and their credit card information has been disclosed, well, chances are that they might switch to another competitor or something like that. Well, if you compare that to malware, most of the times it can be, I mean, I won't say productive because we never know, right? But we have more chances of fixing it than fixing a breach, which potentially can cost a lot of money to the company. And yeah, we all know that that's not what the customers want.
All right, great. So now we get into the fun part, and the audience certainly wants to know about this. What about bug bounty programs, and how did you get involved with HackerOne and Bugcrowd? And how do you get to be in the top 50 of 100,000 or so registrants?
So I started doing bug bounty shortly after I started doing pen tests at SecureOps. So when I started doing pen test SecureOps, I wanted to be better. I wanted to have more skills. So I decided to do bug bounty so that I can, I guess, practice on publicly available bug bounty programs and also get paid for it when I find valuable vulnerabilities. So with time, I eventually became in the top 50, as you said. So it does take time, it does take practice, patience, but in the end, I think spending that extra time on evenings and weekends practicing is good for me, both on bug bounty side and at work, because I've increased my skills, so I find more stuff at work as well.
Yeah, it certainly seems to have paid off. So I understand Google has paid about $6 million and Facebook $4 million in their bug bounty programs.
Yeah.
Why are these programs so important to these organizations?
They are really important. The reason is because compared to a pen test, bug bounty programs are continuously ongoing. So like a pen test, we have like a 2-week pen test going on, and then it doesn't happen for another year or a couple of months. While a bug bounty program, every time a code changes, there are chances that a bug bounty hunter somewhere in the world will find a vulnerability on that new piece of code that has been added on a web app, for example. So also you have multiple people around the world, which means that they have a different area of expertise. So that means that if you have one pen tester that does a pen test, he might not find everything else because he's not really an expert on a specific topic, while someone else, about another bug bounty hunter, would find it because he is an expert in that specific topic where a new code has been added, for example.
Interesting. All right. So last question. What advice would you give to an organization that doesn't know where to start in terms of preventing a breach?
So like I said before, I would start with doing vulnerability assessments. I think this is the basics of security or vulnerability management, because you get to know the vulnerabilities that you have in your network and in your applications. And then from there, you would start by engaging a pen test so that you can see if those vulnerabilities are actual or really there indeed, and also to show how it impacts your company. For example, a pen tester would exploit those vulnerabilities that was found in the vulnerability assessment and show what they can do with it. For example, if there's a vulnerability on an RCE, well, the vulnerability assessment will say that there is an RCE, but doesn't mean that it's really has a big impact. Sorry. And then the pen tester would exploit the vulnerability, get the RCE, get access to the server, and eventually get access to the database, which discloses a lot of PII and so on and so forth. So a pen test would show the impact that those vulnerabilities have, so that they understand exactly what those vulnerabilities are. And then once you are mature with your pen testing and vulnerability management, and that you have like an ongoing patching cycle, and then you can start thinking about getting a bug bounty program to make that you can make sure that you have like people ready to receive those reports, have people on call in case something critical comes in at any time, because like I said earlier, bug bounty is continuous. You have people all around the world. So let's say we're in North America here, we could have someone from India submit a report at night, and so it could be really critical, so it would have to be fixed as soon as possible before a criminal finds it as well. So yeah, this is the sequence that I think would be best for companies. So start with vulnerability management, pen testing, and then bug bounty programs.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. That concludes the interview, and I love the way you talked about vulnerability assessment, pen tests, and bug bounty programs, how they build off of one another. It was great speaking with you and learning all about those 3 topics, and we look forward to hearing from you again. Everyone, thanks a lot for your for submitting the topics that you want to hear about. We're going to come back soon with another interview from another IT security leader here at SecureOps. We look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.
Thanks a lot.